All right, so you've sent in a ton of great stuff about how SMEs are tackling this whole AI thing.
Yeah, looks like a lot of businesses are trying to figure this out.
Definitely a hot topic. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive. We really want to pull out the most important points from everything you've all shared so you can get a clear idea of how your SME can use AI strategically, without having to read through every single article and report.
Right, cut through all the noise and get right to what really matters. We'll be looking at the challenges and maybe some advantages you might not even realize you have.
And by the end, we'll lay out some practical steps you can start taking today.
Yeah, think of it as your AI roadmap from where you are now to where you want to be.
Perfect. Okay, so looking at all this great material, a few big themes jump out. First, we see some pretty serious challenges for SMEs who want to use AI. And the big one right off the bat is money.
Yeah, the financials are a huge factor. A lot of these sources talk about the resources, both money and personnel.
Right. SMEs often have tight budgets, and AI can be expensive.
Exactly. So there's this tension between the potential of AI and the cost of actually implementing it.
And it's not just about the initial investment.
No, you also need to think about the long-term costs,
Yeah.
maintenance, training, all that. Plus, SMEs often operate on thin margins. So seeing a quick return on that AI investment, that's really crucial.
Absolutely. Okay, so money's a hurdle. But it's not just about the dollars and cents, right?
There are definitely some people-related challenges too.
Like what kind of stuff?
Well, for starters, there's a real shortage of AI specialists.
Especially those who are experienced and affordable enough for an SME to bring on board.
Exactly. So even if you have the budget, finding the right people, that's a whole other challenge. And then there's the whole issue of integrating AI into what you already have.
Yeah, like your existing tech systems and the way people already work.
Exactly. It's rarely just plug and play. It takes time, effort, and some serious know-how to get it right. And some business owners, they might just be hesitant about this whole AI thing.
Right, like is it really going to work for my business?
Yeah. Exactly. Is it worth the risk, the disruption? Those are valid concerns. And honestly, sometimes it's hard to tell if AI will actually deliver on its promises, especially for your specific needs.
So we've got the challenges, but these sources, they also point out some surprising advantages that SMEs actually have when it comes to AI.
Yeah, there's definitely a flip side to this coin. And one of the biggest advantages SMEs have is their agility.
Okay, how so?
Well, think about it. SMEs, they tend to have much flatter organizational structures, fewer layers of management.
So less bureaucracy.
Exactly. And that means leaders can be much more directly involved in everything, including those R&D decisions about AI.
That makes a lot of sense. So you avoid those communication breakdowns that can happen in bigger companies, where the tech people and the decision makers aren't really on the same page.
Exactly. And because of that, SMEs can make decisions and adapt to changes much faster, like a speedboat compared to a giant cargo ship.
I love that analogy. So even though SMEs might feel like they're always fighting an uphill battle when it comes to resources,
Right, always trying to do more with less.
it sounds like that actually forces them to be really laser focused on their business needs.
Yeah, that scarcity mentality, it can actually drive innovation.
Yeah.
And because they're so in tune with their core business needs, SMEs are often really quick to spot opportunities where AI can make a difference.
So it's not just about having the latest and greatest tech.
No, it's about knowing where that tech can actually move the needle for your business. And SMEs, because they're so adaptable, they can implement those changes much faster too.
And another thing that came up a lot in these sources, this idea of company culture and how crucial it is for AI adoption.
Yeah, the cultural piece of this is huge. It's more than just buying a software package. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how you do business.
AI can change everything from your processes to even your overall business model, so you need the right culture in place to support that.
Absolutely. One of the things these sources emphasize is the importance of creating a learning culture.
So what does that look like in practice?
It's about creating spaces where employees can learn and share knowledge, encouraging people to learn from each other, give feedback, and be open to new ideas. It's also about being ready and willing to adapt to those changes that AI brings.
I guess it's no surprise then that training is a big part of this.
Huge. Your employees need to feel empowered to use these new AI tools.
So comprehensive targeted training is essential. It helps people get comfortable with the tech and reduces any anxiety they might have about AI taking their jobs or whatever.
Right. It's about making sure everyone feels confident and ready to use AI in their day-to-day work.
Mm.
And it's not just about the training itself. It's also about communication.
Right, keeping everyone in the loop.
Exactly. Transparency is key. Leaders need to be open and honest with their employees about how AI is being used, why it's being implemented. And that includes everyone from the top executives down to the frontline workers.
So it's about building trust and making sure everyone feels like they're part of the process.
Right. And that ties back into that whole learning culture idea. It's about being open to change, learning from your mistakes, and constantly adapting.
And it sounds like strong leadership is super important in all of this.
Oh, absolutely. Management support is non-negotiable. Leaders need to be champions for AI. They need to set the tone for the whole organization and create an environment where AI can thrive.
So they can't just delegate this to the IT department and wash their hands of it.
Definitely not. Leaders need to be actively involved. They need to be learning about AI themselves and helping their teams to develop new practices and workflows that incorporate AI effectively. And because AI can change your business so fundamentally.
Right. It's not just about automating a few tasks here and there.
Leaders also need to be adaptable. They need to be able to adjust their leadership style as the business model evolves with AI. They need to know when to hold on tight and when to let go to allow for those shifts to happen smoothly.
So it's kind of a balancing act between providing direction and giving people the freedom to experiment and innovate.
Exactly. Okay, so we've talked about the internal challenges and advantages, but there's also this external pressure that a lot of SMEs are feeling.
Yeah, competition, the need to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak.
Right. These sources, they make it clear that AI isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's becoming essential for staying competitive.
Especially in today's rapidly changing market, you need to be offering something truly unique and valuable to stand out. And for SMEs, that often means leveraging AI.
Right. And that can be tough because often SMEs have limited resources. They can't always compete on price with the bigger players, so they need to find other ways to differentiate themselves. And AI can help them do that.
By creating better products, offering more personalized services, streamlining their operations, all sorts of things.
Exactly. But it's not enough to just jump on the AI bandwagon. You need a plan.
A strategic approach.
Right. You need to figure out where AI fits into your overall business strategy. What are your goals? What are your biggest competitive threats? And how can AI help you address those challenges and seize those opportunities? And the sources, they even talk about this idea of horizontality versus verticality when it comes to AI investment.
So break that down for me. What does that even mean?
Well, horizontality, that means implementing AI broadly across your whole business from the start. Aiming for widespread AI capabilities right out of the gate, which sounds great in theory, but it requires a huge upfront investment, which might not be feasible for a lot of SMEs.
Right, especially those working with limited resources.
Exactly. So the alternative is verticality, which means starting with targeted AI solutions for specific departments or functions, picking those areas where AI can make quick and noticeable impact.
And then building from there, once you've got some early wins under your belt.
Exactly. And this approach, it lets you demonstrate the value of AI, get some return on your investment, and then use that momentum to expand your AI capabilities over time.
So it's kind of like dipping your toes in the water before you dive in head first.
Yeah, perfect analogy. And look, the sources, they acknowledge that with any new tech, there's going to be some trial and error. You're not going to get everything right on the first try.
Some wasted capital is almost inevitable.
Yeah, that's just the reality of being an early adopter. But those sources, they also remind us that companies who invested early in things like computers and software, they often gained a huge competitive edge.
Yeah, they give the example of Procter & Gamble adopting the SaaS system early on, and that really helped them stay ahead of the curve. Whereas companies that were slow to adapt, like Kodak, well, they struggled to catch up.
Right. So the key takeaway here isn't necessarily for every SME to become an AI expert or to build their own AI solutions from scratch. It's more about developing enough technical literacy to understand what AI can do, how it works, and most importantly, how to find and manage the right partners or providers.
So you don't get ripped off and left behind.
Exactly. It's about being an informed consumer, asking the right questions, doing your due diligence, so you can benefit from AI without breaking the bank. Now, speaking of understanding AI, the sources make a really important distinction between AI and traditional software.
Yeah, the whole legacy software thing.
Right. And one of the sources, they have this great line, AI doesn't just automate, it thinks.
That's a perfect way to put it, because AI isn't just about doing things faster. It's about making smarter decisions.
Exactly. With traditional software, you program a set of rules. It's all if this, then that, like a payroll system. It calculates wages based on hours worked and a set formula. It doesn't learn or adapt.
Right, just follows the instructions it's given.
Exactly. But AI, it's different. AI analyzes data, it identifies patterns, and then it uses that information to make decisions. Like that example in one of the sources about an AI recruitment agent.
Yeah, that was fascinating. Instead of just filtering resumes based on keywords, this AI actually evaluates skills, predicts job performance, and recommends the best candidates.
Right. It's going beyond those pre-programmed rules and making judgments based on what it learns from the data. So to put it simply, traditional software automates actions. AI automates decisions.
And that's a game changer. Okay, so for SMEs who are ready to start implementing AI, but who might have limited resources, what's the best way to approach it?
Well, the sources are pretty clear on this. The smartest approach is to start small.
Don't try to boil the ocean all at once.
Exactly. Pick one specific problem you want to solve with AI and focus on that.
And make sure it's a problem that's really causing you pain.
Right. Don't just implement AI for the sake of it. Identify those pain points, those things that are really dragging your business down, and see if AI can help you address them. And start with something small and achievable, something that they can demonstrate a quick return on investment.
One of the sources they use the phrase, start small, think big.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. So instead of trying to overhaul your whole business with AI, focus on those high-impact, quick-win solutions.
Like what kind of things?
Well, one example is automating repetitive tasks, like using AI for resume screening in HR. That frees up your recruiters to focus on more strategic work. Or using AI for lead qualification in sales. That helps your sales team prioritize their efforts and close more deals.
Or even something like automating invoice processing or expense tracking.
Right. All those things, they can save you time, money, and reduce errors.
So once you've got those operational efficiencies in place, then you can start thinking about the more revenue-generating AI applications.
Exactly. Once you've freed up some resources, you can start investing in those more sophisticated AI tools that can help you grow your business.
Like AI-powered customer support chatbots, personalized marketing engines, things like that.
Right. But those things, they often require more integration, more data, more fine-tuning, so they can be more expensive and riskier to implement upfront.
But if you focus on those cost-cutting, efficiency-driving AI solutions first, you create that financial breathing room to tackle those bigger revenue-generating projects down the line.
Exactly. And the sources, they call these more targeted, revenue-focused applications vertical AI solutions.
Vertical because they're focused on specific functions like finance, marketing, or logistics.
Right. And they can deliver a quicker return on investment. But once you've got those vertical solutions in place, then you can start thinking about building those horizontal layers.
So connecting those different AI systems across your business.
Exactly. So you might start with an AI chatbot for customer support, but then later you could expand that same chatbot to handle internal employee inquiries. Or you could implement an AI-powered payroll system after you've already seen success with AI in recruitment.
You're building a more integrated, intelligent business ecosystem.
Precisely. Okay, so let's talk about some of those specific pain points that SMEs often face, the things that AI can help you address.
Yeah, the sources they lay out, quite a list.
They do. And it's a good reminder that AI isn't just some futuristic technology. It can solve real problems that businesses are dealing with right now.
So at the top of the list, we've got limited resources, which is something we've already talked about.
Right. But then there are also things like operational inefficiencies, relying on manual processes, lack of automation, poor inventory control.
AI can really streamline those things.
Exactly. And then there's data management, which is a huge issue for a lot of SMEs. Data scattered all over the place, inconsistent data quality.
And AI can help you clean, integrate, and analyze that data so you can actually make sense of it and use it to make better decisions.
Right. And then there's customer experience, which is more important than ever in today's competitive market.
So things like slow response times, lack of personalization, those are all areas where AI can help.
Exactly. You can use AI-powered chatbots to provide 24/7 customer support. You can use AI to personalize marketing messages. You can even use AI to predict customer churn and take steps to prevent it.
And then there's sales and marketing, which are obviously crucial for any business, but especially for SMEs who are often trying to reach new customers with limited budgets.
Right. And AI can help you generate leads, qualify prospects, run targeted advertising campaigns, and a lot more.
And let's not forget about HR, which is another area where AI is making a big impact.
Yeah. Things like automating resume screening, speeding up the hiring process, improving employee onboarding. AI can help with all of that.
And it can even help with employee engagement.
Right. You can use AI to personalize learning and development programs,
Hmm.
or to provide employees with more relevant feedback and support.
And of course, there's financial management.
Right. So things like cash flow issues, delayed invoicing, AI can automate those processes and give you more visibility into your finances.
And finally, the sources also talk about how AI can help with supply chain management, logistics, cybersecurity, and even sustainability.
So it really is a wide range of applications. And it's only going to grow in the years to come.
All right, so let's say you're an SME owner and you're thinking, okay, I'm ready to explore this AI thing seriously, maybe bring in a consultant. The sources, they provide some really helpful advice on how to prepare for those initial consultations.
Yeah, you don't want to just jump into a meeting with a consultant blind. You need to do your homework.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, you need to have a crystal clear understanding of your own business needs and pain points.
Right. What are the biggest challenges you're facing? What are you hoping to achieve with AI? What are your must-haves and your nice-to-haves?
And you need to be able to articulate those things clearly to the consultant.
Right. Don't just say, I want to use AI. Tell them what you want AI to do for you, what specific problems you want it to solve. And once you have a good grasp of your needs, the next step is to map out your existing processes.
Document your workflows, identify your decision points, take inventory of the tools and technologies you're already using.
Right. Get a good overview of your current operations. And this might seem tedious, but it's crucial because it helps the consultant understand where AI can fit in and what kind of integration might be required.
And it's also super important to assess your data.
Yeah, because data is the fuel that powers AI.
So what kind of data do you collect? Where is it stored? How accurate and accessible is it?
Those are all things you need to know. And once you have a good understanding of your data landscape, you need to think about your budget and your timeline.
Be realistic about how much you can afford to spend and how quickly you expect to see results.
Right. And don't be afraid to have those conversations with the consultant up front.
And speaking of conversations, you also need to identify the key people in your organization who will be involved in this AI project.
Yeah, who's the champion?
Yeah.
Who are the decision makers? Who will be using the AI tools on a daily basis?
Get those people involved early and often.
Exactly. And perhaps most importantly, define what success looks like for you.
What are your key performance indicators, KPIs? How will you measure the impact of AI on your business?
Right. Is it about reducing costs, increasing revenue, improving customer satisfaction, or something else?
Be clear about what you're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, be prepared for change.
Yeah. AI is going to disrupt your existing workflows. It's going to change the way you do business.
Yeah.
So be open to those changes, embrace them, and be willing to adapt.
And one of the sources, they actually provide a really handy checklist of all these preparation steps. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, it's a great resource. And once you've done all that prep work, you're in a much better position to have those initial consultations with an AI consultant. You'll be able to ask the right questions, provide the right information, and get the most out of those meetings.
So speaking of asking the right questions, the sources also provide a list of key questions to ask potential consultants to make sure everyone's on the same page and to protect your interests.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're both clear about the project's scope and expectations. What specific tasks are included? What's out of scope? What are the acceptable performance levels for the AI solution?
And be sure to clarify roles and responsibilities. Who's responsible for what? Who will provide training and support?
Right, and don't forget about ownership and access.
Mm.
Who owns the AI model and the data it generates? Will you have access to your data if you decide to switch providers down the line?
And of course, be crystal clear about costs and payment structure.
Right, are there any hidden costs?
Yeah.
What happens if the project goes over budget or takes longer than expected?
And always discuss risk management.
Yeah, what are the potential risks and challenges? What are the contingency plans? What's the process for resolving disputes?
Have those difficult conversations up front to avoid headaches down the line.
Exactly. And thankfully, one of the sources provides another checklist to help you navigate those consultant engagements. So,
Definitely check that out.
yeah, it covers all the key stages from the initial consultation to the final agreement and project completion.
So as we wrap up this deep dive for you, our listener, the key message we want you to take away is this.
AI is a powerful tool, but it's not a magic bullet.
Right. It's not going to solve all your problems overnight.
But if you approach it strategically and thoughtfully,
If you're willing to learn, adapt, and invest in the right solutions.
AI can absolutely help your SME thrive in today's competitive market.
So before you go, we want you to take a moment and think about this.
Considering the resources you have and the pain points we've discussed,
What's one small area where you can envision AI making a real difference in your business right now?
It could be anything from automating a simple task to improving customer service to making better use of your data.
Just pick one thing and start there.
And maybe revisit those sources you shared with us with that specific question in mind.
Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you found it helpful.
And good luck on your AI journey.
We're excited to see what you achieve.